Today I am very excited to be joined by Denise Resnik. Denise is the founder and CEO of DRA Collective, and also she is involved and president and CEO of First Place Arizona, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to development of new, innovative housing options for adults with autism. She is also the co-founder and board member of, is it Emeritus? Emeritus of the Southwest Autism Resource Center, and it's an internationally recognized nonprofit organization. She is also the proud mother of an adult son with autism. So Denise, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, well, we are honored to have you interview with us today. And would you like to share anything else about yourself with our listeners?
We also have two daughters, and we are very grateful more than anything for our family, which has been incredibly supportive through all these years of not only working with Matt and through some of his challenging issues with autism, but in helping us to develop SARC and First Place.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I became familiar with your work. There was an article when First Place was starting to come under develop, but as I looked through your history and your biography, it looks like you have spent a considerable amount of time helping the autism community.
I have. It's certainly been a passionate pursuit, and it started early on, actually, with a mother support group. And we would meet at a local coffee shop and share the stories of the day or the week and remedies and ways that we were trying to get through our challenges. And from that mother support group, which started in 1995-96, we co-founded the Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center, and that was in 1997, 20 years ago.
Wow, wow, that's quite a history there. That's terrific. And then prior to that, as far as your work with DRA Collective, how does that work in the community?
My background is in real estate and marketing. And when I graduated from Arizona State University, my first job was at the Del Webb Corporation, which, as a New York Stock Exchange company, is also the grandfather of senior housing. The development they're best known for is Sun City here in Arizona, and then developed more Sun Cities throughout the country. So when I left the corporation to form my own agency, marketing communications firm, now 30 years ago, real estate and economic development's what I knew. And fast forward then, after Matt was diagnosed with autism, I went out and I looked at some of those group homes and housing properties for people with different needs and abilities. And I ran away as fast as I possibly could. I could not stand to see that future. And it scared me. And truly, from the first day the school bus arrived, I've been dreaming about where Matt would live when he became an adult. And that's what we've been working on ever since, and why it's so significant that in December 2016, after many years of dreaming and research and lots of ideation, we broke ground on First Place.
That is terrific. So First Place that's opening up in Arizona, and by the way, I did see where the Arizona was ranked the most autism-friendly city in the world. That's
Yes,
quite an
yeah, that was
accomplishment.
actually Phoenix. So Phoenix
Phoenix.
became the most autism-friendly city in the world, according to PBS NewsHour and the journalists John Donvan and Karen Zucker, who also are authors of In a Different Key, The Story of Autism. It's a history book on autism. And in all their journeys and all their research, they identified this, what they talked about in terms of an autism metropolis. And it was the idea that more people are more open to opportunities for individuals with autism, starting in the early years in our schools to community involvement and engagement, jobs, healthcare, continuing education, and greater awareness of what autism is in our community, and importantly, what it's not.
Sure, absolutely. So, what services will First Place provide to their residents?
First, think about the housing, very specifically supportive housing. First place, Phoenix, which is our first new property, will include 56 studio, one, and two-bedroom units, and also four-bedroom suites. The people living in those four-bedroom suites will be our first place Transition Academy students. And the students have a very defined, specific program and classes that they take and jobs that they have, volunteer work, lots of community engagement, lots of skill building. The apartments include a suite of supportive services and amenities. And the way you can think about First Place and the apartments and the offering is very much like a homeowners association, which
Okay.
includes a lot of different programming and supports based on the individual's needs. But the fact that we are creating a larger property also means that we can create a business model that allows for more supportive services and amenities and community engagement than others might be able to enjoy if they were in a smaller property or 4 or 5 person group home. So this is more of a demonstration of how this property lives like a lot of other apartment communities.
Mm-hmm.
And it is our great hope and mission to help ensure that housing options for people with autism and other special abilities are as bountiful as they are for everyone else. So it's truly a demonstration of how we bring private sector interests together with public sector and government, together with charity, to help create, in essence, a new market for
Mm-hmm.
people with special needs in this very similar way that Del Webb did 50 years ago when they began introducing senior housing. And now you look today at where senior housing is, different locations, different price points, different amenities, different services. There is clearly no one size fits all. And what we believe we need to do is to create a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're trying to demonstrate through First Place.
That is just truly amazing to hear all the services, how it's just very inclusive and very well thought out as far as the needs for the community. I imagine that it probably this interview won't allow enough time or afford us enough time, but how did you get the community to engage that, to embrace it? Can you share a little bit around the background of how you brought everyone together for this effort?
Absolutely. And we're very proud that First Place AZ has 80 local and national collaborating partners. We started very humbly in 1997 as a Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center without a roof over our heads. We actually incubated SARC in my business office in the same way that we're incubating First Place, its sister nonprofit today. It wasn't until year end 1998 we had a roof over our heads. And that in 1998 represented the first year that we hosted an annual community breakfast. The year one, we had 300 community members there. By year two, three, four, we were on our way to 1,000 and 2,000. And every year since, we've hosted these community breakfasts to help educate our community on autism, again, what it is, what it isn't, what you can do, whoever you are, whether you're a legislator, a business person, an a philanthropist, everybody can do to be part of how we better integrate people with autism into our home schools, into our communities, into the fabric of life, and also appreciate the value that they add. And that's not a quick development in terms of community building. It's
Mm-hmm.
been 20 years of opening more doors in a lot of different places and inspiring people who are now well educated and engaged to embrace the cause and bring it into their place of business, their place of their nonprofits, their places of worship, the broader community, and the broader culture to recognize that we, as people with autism and family members, add a greatly valued dimension to that culture and that fabric of community.
That's just terrific, and to think of the engagement that was, building that process over the 20 years, and then now to see it come, to full premonition with the groundbreaking and everything coming together. Congratulations on that. That is just terrific.
Thank you. I
Yes.
haven't stopped smiling. Well, a bit exhausted, but haven't stopped smiling. It's truly a property that has been built by and for community and is designed to help a lot of other communities to do the same. In time, we hope to earn even more support from government and braid together more government funding to help support people who live there. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, it is a private pay option because that's what was attainable. It's where we could start. But in time, our goal is to demonstrate to government agencies that the kind of supports people are receiving here are equally as valuable, if not even more effective than they are in some of the other situations that people currently receive, different supports. And so we know we are being disruptive. We embrace that. We believe that it represents a path forward to be unencumbered by some of the agency policies, like the 25% rule with HUD, which,
Right.
restricts the number of people who can live together if you have a disability. But we also know that, if you're a senior or if you're a Jew or if you're Latino, you can live together, but people with autism or different abilities are restricted from living together. And we understand that government put that policy, that prescriptive policy in place years ago because they didn't want to see an institution. And we're trying to demonstrate with advances in design, advances in technology, promotion of choice, that people choose to live here, choose to live with who they want to live with, and are part of the community that we're demonstrating a new model. And we have been working very closely with the Urban Land Institute,
Okay.
with private sector real estate developers, wanting to demonstrate this as a viable property and one that they would want to be involved with, and one that truly mirrors and parallels what other people get to have in community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Exactly.
choice.
That's terrific. And then so in some essence, you're almost building a model, if you will, that kind of like what you mentioned regarding Del Webb. And ironically enough, my in-laws live in a Del Webb property here in Indiana. So I completely understand that concept. So if you could have a model that is successful, that can be shared in other states, other communities, there's no need to really reinvent the wheel, if you will, that there's a successful model that's there. And I applaud your efforts to get the government to understand that some things do need to change, that there are some, you know, different models that can be successful, that sometimes when looking at that, there does need to be a innovative, if you will, an innovative approach towards things, and you guys are doing that, so that's terrific. Now, what steps would a family take, Denise, to become involved or to choose First Place as a housing option for their adult with autism?
The first thing to do is to log on to our website at www.firstplaceaz.org. So that's www.firstplaceaz.org. And families can quickly and individuals can quickly identify where they might have an interest, whether it's as a First Place Transition Academy student or whether it's as a First Place supportive housing resident, and then they can follow the process that we've identified on the site to help them learn more about First Place and the offering and if it's a good fit for them. And then we'll take it from there in terms of application process or evaluation processes, depending on the apartments or the Transition Academy. And I also want to go back to something that you said, Carlos, which is so important because we've talked about the apartments and we've talked about the Transition Academy. The third and critically important component, which is co-located at First Place Phoenix, is the First Place National Leadership Institute. And you said it, you talked about, outcomes, and we do have within that institute 5 specific centers. One is a center for applied research, where we want to be collecting data to demonstrate outcomes beyond the heartwarming stories of the happiness quotient,
Mm-hmm,
of
right.
how people are living and enjoying and benefiting from First Place. We also have a center for education, training, and employment. And that's about working with more direct support service providers so we can open doors to more options, looking again for outcomes that help promote independence, not the dependency model. In addition, we have a center for expression, which is all about storytelling and pushing out, data and
Mm-hmm.
information, and a center for real estate and community development so we can help more communities do more of the work that we've been doing here in Phoenix, Arizona. And finally, and importantly, we have a center for public policy to help our elected and appointed leaders understand um, what policies are currently in our way and what policies could be further informed by some of our outcomes, and looking at some new policies that help move this whole marketplace forward that promotes greater choice, greater community integration, and greater hope for families everywhere. 20 plus years ago, when our son Matt was diagnosed with autism, we were told to love, accept, and plan to institutionalize him, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I began running to those group homes and those places to see what we needed to be doing and thinking about for Matt. And they were wholly unacceptable. And so for the past few decades, I have been working and dreaming about places that would be wonderful for families to see late in life, but also early in life, right after that diagnosis, that we not only tell families their child has autism, but instead of talking about institutionalization, we would be talking about neighborhood schools and friends and jobs and homes and a supportive community. That kind of hope helps us as parents get out of bed every day, put one foot in front of the other, climb the next mountain, deal with the next challenge. And no one should take away our hope for our kids. And that's what we want First Place to represent: hope for kids, hope for adults, hope for families everywhere that give us all greater peace of mind.
That is just terrific. If you everything that you just mentioned in terms of it's like everything was very well thought out, and to think of the quality of life outcomes that are possible with that is just terrific. So just that's great. Now, in terms of the next steps for First Place, so we did the groundbreaking. So can you walk through in terms of the next steps, and then also just forward thinking your vision? I'm sure that you have to start thinking about sustainability models for it, thinking, long term. But could you share just some forward thoughts regarding First Place?
Absolutely. So, First Place Transition Academy is almost 2 years now underway in a beta site location where we have co located 8 two-bedroom apartments for students with autism with 13 apartments, primarily for seniors, demonstrating the benefits of multi generational living and also demonstrating what the program is all about. So, in terms of next steps, what we're doing is expanding our enrollment for the First Place Transition Academy, because in the future, our First Place students in year one will live at the First Place Phoenix property, and in year two, they'll live in this beta site property, affectionately called 29 Palms.
Okay,
The,
okay.
and so that was the content for a lot of the PBS NewsHour segment called A Place in the World, which helped bring life to what we're doing each and every day in our First Place Transition Academy, helping students learn to navigate community through public transportation, secure jobs, volunteer work, help them through 33 semester length courses that are focused on life skills development, career readiness, interpersonal skills, everything from financial management, budgeting, and grocery shopping
Mm-hmm.
to meal planning, taking care of your home, getting along with your roommate, looking for a job, pursuing your interests, learning how to live independently by living independently with support. And the Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center is our operating partner of the First Place Transition Academy. So as sister nonprofits, we are working very closely together, where First Place is focused more on the real estate and community development, and SARC more focused on the programming and services. In the place of the apartments, we are working right now to assess community interest, to begin taking families and individuals through the application process so we can start this reservation list. And we've got about 200 families which are very interested, including individuals who have expressed an interest. And so we need to begin that process, which will commence after the first of the year. We'll create a reservation form, and individuals will be moving in the spring 2018.
Wow, that's
Meanwhile,
amazing.
the 5 centers that I described to you for the First Place Leadership Institute are all firing away. We're underway on research, we're underway on training and education, storytelling, and pushing more information out to the community. We're actively involved with the Government Accountability Office and Congress on informing their plans in terms of transitioning adolescents and adults, along with Governor Ducey's plan here in Arizona on the whole concern about autism and how we can provide and offer greater support to more individuals and families.
That's terrific, and I have several friends who have kids. I'm a parent of a child with autism, and that's something that is always on the forefront of what happens when they become young adults and as they become adults. So it's just something that's always kind of, and they're actively looking at different centers, and there's a lot of innovative things that are going on. But in terms of your approach, with the pilot model and seeing that they can be successful in one setting, I think that's very ideal to their success, becoming, almost more independent with living, and just truly amazing services. Now, how can our listeners learn more about First Place?
They can log on to our website at www.firstplaceaz.org. That's www.firstplaceaz.org.
Wonderful. And is there any closing thoughts, Denise, that you would like to share?
Carlos, I thank you so much for hosting this program and helping us all stay connected, push out the good word, and together be stronger so that we can leap forward and it won't take us another 20 years to get with adults where it's taken us to be today with early intervention. So by getting out of our silos, working together, we are working on plans for replication of First Place in communities across North America. And we're looking at that very much like a licensing situation where you think about a hospitality flag. The real
Right.
estate are controlled by different interests, but the technology, the training, how the property lives and breathes, and the branding, and importantly, the peace of mind that comes with a First Place property, that's what we truly hope to replicate, giving more people in more places more chances to live more independently. And I wanted to just close by a few thoughts that have been shared with me by one of my mentors and dear friends who talks about independent living and recognizes that none of us truly live independently. We all depend on somebody. So it's that concept of interdependent living, and to think about the number of people in our lives we don't pay to care about us. And it's a beautiful thing to create that vision of supportive neighbors, a supportive community that we don't pay to look out for all of us, and our kids too. So it's not where we're starting today, but it is a beautiful vision when we see what's happening in our beta site, when we envision what will be happening in First Place, Phoenix, and the broader community, to think that, yes, we'll have people in place whose job it is to make sure our students and our residents are safely, appropriately navigating the community. But there will be a lot of other people in this interdependent life of ours that will be looking out for us, who we don't pay, but are there because they understand us, they care about us, and they're taking something home each day and each night about the privilege of being a friend to your son and mine.
Very well said and very inspiring. So, Denise, it's been an honor to spend this time with you today. I definitely plan on following First Place and learning more, staying up with it, and then also sharing with our listeners. So, thank you so much for your time with us
Thank
today.
you, Carlos. Have a great weekend.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Take care. Bye bye.